I want to preface this by saying it doesn't matter if you're Muslim, Christian, Hindu, Zoroastrian, heck, even if you don't believe in God. The premise of this video is not to convince you of a particular religion. Heck, it's not even to convince you of God. The premise is very simple. When you have professional, external accountability, you operate at a level of speed and efficiency that is so much higher than your competition that you leave them in the dust without them even realizing what happened. And let me give you a simple example to illustrate this. If you look at all of the top people, let's say in sports, for example, if you have somebody like Kobe, let's take basketball players, for example. People that play basketball have coaches. Now, are the coaches better at playing ball than them? Absolutely not. So then why do these players have coaches? One of the biggest reasons for why is to have that professional external accountability to ensure that they are operating at their best every single day. Now, here at my company, Compass, what we do is we help entrepreneurs that are already established scale by leveraging execution systems, and we provide accountability to them. We provide live accountability where we literally track every single second that they work so that they can effortlessly execute so efficiently that they can get more done in 4 hours than most people can in weeks. But the thing is, a lot of people come to me and they're not able to afford the services that we offer, or they don't qualify, because we only like working with people that are already established that we can absolutely help get a revenue return on. So a lot of these people come and ask me, Hattie, what do I do if I don't have anybody else to keep me professionally accountable externally? Because if you have somebody like a friend, right? A friend cannot serve the same purpose as a professional for one reason and one reason only. They have no commitment, they have no aligned incentives, and they are not dedicated to that one job. Who's going to keep that friend accountable? Nobody is. Neither can this work with a spouse. It can work with a business partner, maybe, because a business partner has a professional relationship with you. It can work with a coworker, perhaps, because they have a professional relationship with you. But there is one concept that you can actually employ that keeps you accountable inevitably. It can't do it to the same extent. It can't keep you accountable live like human beings can. And I'm not talking about AI here. I'm talking about something distinct. An external contract. And I like to call this a contract with God. This can provide as a professional way for you to keep yourself accountable. And this is actually how I did it. I always keep forgetting the N in external. This is exactly how I did it. In fact, this is how I'm doing it right now. I layer these levels of accountability. So not only do I have a coach or an executive systems manager that makes sure that I plan out everything, that I keep on my deadlines, he literally reviews every single second that I work live, all of that, and I'm literally using him right now to work. The only reason why you're seeing this is because I'm kept accountable to the things that I commit to. But when you do this, you have a level of accountability that is very high, right under the level of live accountability. And let me tell you exactly how this works. You create a professionally drawn out contract. You put all the legal language in there, and then you swear to either yourself or to God, if you're a religious man, that you will do some certain things. So basically, for example, let me tell you something. I have a system where I work in blocks of time, and I allocate those blocks of times to certain tasks. Let's say that there's, 24 hours in a day, 8 of those are scheduled out for sleep. I want to make sure that I focus on the constraint of the business for at least 6 hours a day. So this is what I do. I have a contract with God that my ESM makes sure that I'm actually fulfilling, that I have to wake up at 6 a.m. and I have to do 6 straight time blocks. Let's see if we can get 6 here. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have to do 6 straight blocks with a maximum of a 20-minute break in between, working on the constraint of the business, which for us is still advertising. And if you're interested in this, I've recorded several videos about identifying the right things. Because if you're moving, if you have speed, that's not necessarily enough. If you studied physics, you know that there is a fundamental difference between speed and velocity. If you have speed and you're very quick, but you're directionless, you're never going to get anywhere. But when you have velocity, velocity is speed, but it's in a singular direction. So let me give you 2 trajectories, for example. There's one dude who's going very fast like this, right? And this is the destination that he approaches. Now he's going at, let's say he's in a car or whatever, right? And they're trying to go to Vegas. We're talking about God here, and we put Vegas in the same sentence. But anyways, he's going at 100, I erased it by accident. He's going 100 miles per hour. Then we have another dude who's going straight to that same exact destination. The distance is just less because he has a straight, strict direction. In physics, velocity is a vector. It is speed with a singular direction. Even if this person in this car here, going to Vegas, is going at 50 miles per hour, they will reach their destination earlier than the person going 100 miles per hour, because this distance, the blue in here, the distance of this line, the distance of this trajectory is more than 2 times the distance of this red trajectory right here. Hope this is making sense for you. So again, it's very important that you have velocity as part of your system, right? But basically, identifying the constraint of the business, once you do that properly and adequately and boil it down into inputs, and by the way, I'll give you a life hack. The constraint of most businesses that are under $1 to $3 million a year is advertising. They are not making their product or service known enough that other people, more customers, can come into their business. You want to boil it down into inputs and then commit to doing these inputs. Input 1, input 2, input 3, input 4, input 5, input 6. And you can use several recording softwares. There's a software called Rise, so on and so forth, that you can use to actually track this. Now, before you do this, it's very important to eliminate everything else. So again, you can put in your contract that I will, number one, again, you eliminate. So you can say that I will not disable my social blocker restrictions, right? If you have social blockers on your phone, on your MacBook, so on and so forth, I will not disable them. If you have strategic decisions that you need to make, you can say that I need to sit at this time every single week or every single quarter, this particular day, and I have to do at least a 1-hour planning session that is recorded and trackable, where I actually discuss the strategy of the business. Maybe it can be with yourself, it can be with your business partner, so on and so forth. The third thing that you do is you plan. Again, you break it down. You break the inputs down for the strategy. What is the strategy for the business? Again, it's the bigger picture. We need more clients. This is the constraint of the business. The plan is we are going to launch this many ad creatives consistently and spend at least this amount on Meta or whatever other platform you want to insert. And we're going to consistently spend this until we're hitting this certain KPI. This is the planning. You put this in the contract. Again, the elimination you put in the contract, the strategy you put in the contract, the plan you put in the contract, but this is the most important part, which I was prefacing before. You put the actual execution of the plan into the actual contract. You make a professionally drawn out contract. I have hundreds of these. I've been doing this for years. I layer this on top of everything else that I do. And because this is a professionally drawn on contract, I actually go a step further. I use a recording software. You can use Loom. Other people use Neato Record, and there's one called Descript, where basically you just press a button and it starts recording. You read out the entire contract, link it down at the end of this contract. And this contract, or if you want to be more focused, God, or another person that you can put in this contract. What we do with the entrepreneurs that we work with is we build out a contract that they make essentially with themselves. But the ESM, the Executive Systems Manager, which in this concept is just the coach that you have, again, professionally acts as the enforcer of this very contract. Because 99% of people already know what they need to do. There's people out there that are watching YouTube videos. Maybe you're doing this right now. What are you not executing on? Have you not eliminated properly? Have you not blocked YouTube yet? I'm going to lose a lot of viewers, but this is the bottom line. Have you not adequate, because social blockers exist. You know this. You can search up, how can I block shorts? How can I block longs? How can I make my YouTube grayscale? So on and so forth. Again, adding that friction. Why have you not done it? Because nobody's held you accountable. Maybe you did it and then you turned it off. Because again, there was no external accountability to actually keep you on track. As for the strategy, maybe you're like, oh, but I don't know what to do, right? Now you've eliminated, now you don't know what to do. Again, this is the next problem that you have to solve. So why don't you know what you need to do? Because you've been so paralyzed by the excess of information that everybody's providing you that now you're sitting in a state of what we like to call analysis paralysis. You're paralyzed by the amount of information that you're getting. And you haven't sat down, sifted through all the information, identified the highest leverage opportunity, and actually picked it as the vehicle to get you to your next revenue goal. Now that you have the strategy, you know what the problem is. Maybe you're at this stage where you know that this is exactly the bigger picture of what I need to do. Why aren't you doing it? You don't have a plan. You don't have a direct input, a quota-based input of what you need to do, how much money you need to spend on ads. Maybe it's how many calls you need to make. Maybe it's how quickly you need to follow up with your leads. These are trackable KPIs, right? It's like the scientific method. You start with a hypothesis, which is the strategy. If we do this, then this will happen, right? So again, you set a key performance indicator. Our close rate is 0% right now. We want to get it up to at least 5%, for example. I don't know who would have a 0% close rate. Or maybe you're not getting enough calls, whatever it is. Again, this is relevant to KPIs. And then the actual execution of it, tracking it live, tracking it hourly, working in blocks of time that are quantifiable, 1, 2, 3, 4. How many hours did you work? 6. Were they high efficiency hours? How are we going to ensure that they are? We got to make sure that everything's eliminated, the strategy is on point, the plan is on point, and there's nothing left to do except for execute. Then you actually do it. So let me give you some examples. I'll actually pull up my contract right here. I downloaded it again recently. Again, I sent this to my own coach slash executive systems manager right here. The first one that I have is 6 cabs every day. We call them compass action blocks because I like branding things, because they're action blocks with accountability, because they're literally live with a coach where the coach reviews you, right? So again, I do 6 of these every day. Heck, I'm in one of these right now, okay? So I have to work 6 hours a day. And if I do not, I lose a percentage of equity to my business partner. So I've added a negative consequence, right? So again, I have a date right here from July 15th to July 30th, 2025. If I fail to complete a minimum of 6 minimum cabs, and this is very important, consequence. Let me tell you a story about a chain, a fitness chain called CocoFit. CocoFit was basically a gym chain, right? And they were very good at selling franchises. They raised a lot of money. But the thing is, it didn't work in practice. It's like many things, maybe communism, if you're politically aligned with me. Some things work in theory, they don't work in practice. What CocoFit tried to do is they said, hey, we'll build all of these machines, right? But all of those machines will have tracking systems in them. They'll have tracking systems where they'll basically track all your reps and sets and all this stuff. I don't know the details. I'm going to be honest with you. And so we're going to charge the price of a personal trainer. Let's say like, $200 a month or what. This is what they were comparing themselves to. They were like, oh, we're comparing ourselves to a personal trainer because that's what a personal trainer does, right? Track. But no, a personal trainer doesn't just correct your form. Sometimes you know how to correct your own form. A personal trainer ensures that you show up every single day. Again, goes back to the basketball problem. Do you think Kobe's coach could ball better than him? Same with LeBron. Same with Jordan. Do you think the people that train these dudes, that coach these dudes, actually were better than them? No, they weren't. That wasn't their job. Their job was to ensure that all of this was occurring. Elimination, strategy, planning, and execution. That's it. And leveraging the potential of the player themselves. That's the most important thing. So again, going back to this, where was I? Yes, next up. So again, I have 6 cabs. I have to wake up at 6 a.m. every day and start my cab within 1 minute. So within 1 minute of waking up, I have to start in an action block. So again, this reduces the friction between when I wake up and when I actually start this. And all of this was built out by my coach. Next, I have to start all my cabs, all 6 of my cabs back to back, i.e. not spanning more than 20 minutes between each after the first one in the morning. And if I fail to do so, each instance of the failure will result in a 1% equity deduction. So again, when we're talking about CocoFit, they compared themselves to a personal trainer, but what they lacked was the accountability and the consequence. If you don't show up to CocoFit and you don't track your reps, what's the consequence? Who's going to shame you for not coming? Where is the human professional accountability that tells you, hey, not only did you pay me money for one reason and one reason only to show up, but also you just didn't show up. That's shame. That's a consequence, right? So again, consequence, UENCE based accountability. The fear of loss will always be a greater motivator than the possibility of gain. These are the only 2 things that you can motivate people with, either reward or punishment. Punishment will always be more effective than reward. It's unfortunate, but this is the state of affairs of human beings. So again, what I have here is a deduction in equity if I fail to do it. What we do with entrepreneurs at Compass is we take a percentage of their deposit every time they fail to do so. Now, there is an earn back clause because, again, there might be a chance like my alarm might mess up, even though I literally have 3 alarms. If you see right here, I have a barcode on my literal MacBook. I literally took this from one of my supplement boxes and I put it on here. And I have an app called Alarm Me where I have to wake up, and in order for me to turn off my dreaded alarm, I have to scan this thing. I'm kept accountable externally. But again, even if I scan it, I can go back to sleep. But why do I not? Because not only am I kept accountable by God, meaning this contract, I'm also kept accountable by the ESM. And when I actually start working, I'm being recorded with every second that I work. It might sound extreme to most people, but the thing is, this is exactly why most people don't succeed. And this is why CocoFit didn't succeed, because they didn't understand that you can't just say a personal trainer tracks and plans and fixes your form. They keep you accountable. That's the main thing. 99% of coaching, courses, consulting programs, you probably know this. If you're watching this video, you probably invested in these programs. Did you watch all the modules? Did you watch all the videos? Did you consume all the content? Some of you guys probably bought business books. Maybe you bought books on other things. Did you read the books? No, you didn't. Why? Accountability. Accountability is the most important thing when it comes to this. And a contract with yourself and preferably another person, but the contract itself serves as professional external accountability. Now, if you'd like to get professional external accountability from a dedicated executive systems manager that we hire, train, and place here at Compass, we are hosting a free 6-week focus challenge. The whole goal of this challenge is to help established entrepreneurs add at least 30 to 50K in new revenue. If you'd like to join in on this free challenge, I've left a link down below in the description. This is only for established entrepreneurs. For everybody else, I hope that this was valuable. Action steps, please. If you are here, then get a Google Doc, get a bare bones Google Doc, and start writing out this contract with yourself. Start off with elimination. Say, I will not disable any of my social blockers. I will not re-download this app, or I will not evade my limits for screen time on this app, so on and so forth. I will not log back into this account or that account that keeps me distracted. I will not open Slack before 6 or before 2 p.m. because when that occurs, I get extremely distracted and I start putting out fires in my business. Then the strategy, and then the planning, and then the execution. Ciao.